Hello everybody, this is Joshua Tucker, the tendonitis expert, and this is video number 2 of the facet joint syndrome little series. So the first video was, what is facet joint syndrome? This is video number 2, why does it stay in place? Why does it continue to hurt? What keeps it painful? How come nobody can fix it? That's number 2. And this is it. So, in the first video we talked about what is facet joint syndrome. Essentially, it's tightness compressing the vertebra, which pushes the joints into each other, and that irritates them and hurts really bad. And then other things happen to make it tighter and tighter and tighter, push harder and harder. So the short answer is that's why it stays in place, because you have forces in play that are ongoingly pushing your facet joints into each other. There's nothing wrong with your facet joints. You don't have a facet joint problem. You have a larger problem, which is pushing the facet joints into each other. So why doesn't pain go away? Short answer, because you have various forces causing compression and continuing to push on the joints, which irritates them. Kind of simple, but let's get a little more complex than that. So, because that doesn't really help you. Yeah, you have compressive forces. How does that help you? It's important to know what those factors are that's causing the compression. Because until you know what those things are, you're going to continue to allow things to happen, like prescriptions for rest and painkillers, which, necessary. Pain's bad, get out of pain for a while. Muscle relaxants, which aren't going to help. Injections into the facet joint, which might help for a while. And when pain's bad, you get desperate, so sure. But those are the kind of things that they all focus on the joint, like the joint is the problem. But the joint is not the problem. So one thing you need to know about why your facet joint stays in place is because you have multiple factors pushing on the spot, and that the spot is not the problem, that's just where it hurts. So let's break it down a little bit. Compressive forces. You have vertebra. Around those you have muscle and connective tissue. That muscle gets tight. If you just went to sleep or got in a hot tub and it would relax, then the pain would go away because the compressive forces wouldn't be happening. But that tightness stays. It continues to press. So that's one factor of why you continue to have pain. Compression continues to press in. Muscles, tightness. Connective tissue, tightness. If this is a tight muscle and this is connective tissue that shrink wraps because it's been tight for so long, then the muscle literally can't relax because it's stuck in that. So that's one factor. The other factor is the inflammation process. This is how it keeps pain in place. When the compression is irritating the joint and the joint hurts, it tells the brain there's a problem. And the brain kicks in inflammation process and or dials up the inflammation process. Inflammation does two things mainly. It releases chemicals which enhance your sensitivity to pain, and that causes your muscles to tighten up, to guard and protect. It also traps fluid in the area for like swelling, but we don't deal with that a whole lot in facet joint scenarios. But for sure, the pain-enhancing chemical is a thing, because if these are your vertebrae, you have all this tissue all around. And the brain is causing pain-enhancing chemical to be pumped in all this area. So we can just press you back like that and it hurts. It shouldn't, you're not injured, but because that chemical is there, it makes things extra sensitive. So imagine all right here where you have compression and somebody's actually hitting you with a hammer, kind of. Not only does the hammer hurt, but even when the hammer's gone, it still hurts. And that's the chemical, it just makes things hurt. But the important thing there is that it tells the brain to tighten up muscles to guard and protect. So again, it all comes back to tightness. And the third main factor of why facet joint pain stays in place is nutritional insufficiency. Again, I touched on all this in the last video, but nutritional insufficiency is a big player. It takes calcium to contract a muscle. It takes magnesium to relax a muscle. Long story short, and there's more details in the webpage, the link below here. The long story short is you don't have enough of what you need for the muscle to relax. So not only the muscle gets tight, but it stays stuck tight because literally, aside from tight connective tissue shrink wrapping it, aside from the brain telling it to tighten up, to guard and protect, the muscle can't mechanically relax because it doesn't have the nutrients it needs. It doesn't have the magnesium it needs to be able to relax. So it's stuck contracting, not just tight, but actually contracting. It's flexing. So you try to sleep at night and these muscles are flexing and they're compressing that joint together. So that's why you constantly feel tight. All three reasons is why there's that constant tightness and it just won't go away. You're stuck tight. Three main factors: tightness, inflammation, nutritional insufficiency. That's what's causing and keeping in place that feeling of just tightness, and specifically that grinding right there. So at this point, I'd just be repeating myself, which I tend to do a lot, but I repeat myself because it's important. These are important things to know. If you just think you hurt and the joint is the problem, then you'll do whatever anybody says because you don't know. But now you know that there's multiple factors you have to deal with to effectively make the tightness go away. Until this tightness relaxes, you'll constantly have this compression. And that's what kind of causes the pain. There's different levels of causes, but that's causing the pain is the tightness. So facet joint pain doesn't go away because you have multiple factors working together to compress right there. So what do you do about it? That's video 3, and that's next.